been a rainy, wet, largely disagreeable day today. I've been trying to use that opportunity to get some things done. First starting with video editing. And now, I have at least one computer to work on. Probably several. This... Oh, my light's not on. I was wondering why it was so dark in here, but this is another one of these Q270M-C motherboards. This one I have really tricked out. In the last one I put 32 gigabytes of RAM on. And that was a lot of RAM for one of these, but this one, I really kitted it out. It's got 64. So the object of this machine here is going to be to put this into, I mean you can't see it, it's buried behind that side cover, but put that into a case with a couple of drives and to use this as yet another Proxmox VE host. Basically for expansionary purposes, it'll allow me to reorganize some things, hopefully more optimize the setup, because at this point I'm abusing other machines for virtual machines because I don't have enough space. And in addition to that, I really would like to separate the internet-facing stuff from the non-internet facing stuff. But of course first I gotta put that into that case and get a power supply and all that figured out, so I figure we should probably start with that. I've had it running here. In fact, I've actually had it running here for an entire night just to prove that it's stable, or to prove that it can run like this, and so far at least it can. I guess we'll find out in the long term what really happens. Okay, so here's the case. You can see this is the state that it was left in after I abandoned it because I was going to use it for my main computer and then decided that that was not going to work because of the positioning of this drive cage. There's space for 3 drives, which is what I'm going to install, 1 boot drive and 2 storage drives. Okay, got the board installed and cabled up, except for the power LED, because of course this case uses a 3-pin power LED and this board will not support that. There is no option for that anywhere. I know that some of the Intel boards had an outboard header for a 3-pin power LED, but this one doesn't, so I guess I'm not using the power LED, but that's fine. Can't really say that I've missed the power LED anyway. You'll know when it's on. The thing that matters more to me is the hard drive LED. Also put a cover in the back. I hate these covers, but this is what I was able to find. I think there's probably some in one of the boxes over there, but I wasn't about to go dig into those. And a fan for the back. This is actually a Bit Phoenix fan. I haven't seen their name around in a long time. I thought they went out of business, but evidently not, because there's one of their fans. Now I got to install a power supply. There's the power supply I'm going to use. This is the last piece, other than the case, out of my old main computer that I have not reused yet. And I figured it would fit this build quite nicely. This case actually has, dare I say, decent cable management. I mean, I'm not installing an optical drive, but the idea is you actually put the cables here. But you can see there, the only thing that's really dangling down is the power for the drives. So that's actually kind of nice. Speaking of drives, here's the boot drive I'm going to be installing. 64 gigabyte SSD now. Yeah, that's right, everybody who keeps telling me to get an SSD now, I did get an SSD now. Sorry, I couldn't resist the pun. But seriously, folks, it gets really annoying when people get on my case 24/7 about using hard drives and servers that run 24/7 that, you know, are not necessarily the kind that load all their contents into RAM, or actually, I'm sorry, I have that backwards, are the kinds that load their contents into RAM. There's no reason to put expensive SSDs in these things when they're only going to be used for, what, like 30 seconds at boot time? What's the point? So anyway, I've got covers in the front of this. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I managed to find this one. This one actually isn't for this case, but I made it fit because it made me mad. So there you go. It's got covers now. I don't think I'll ever be able to get that cover out of there, but I don't really care. It's not like this case is going to see much more uses anyway. And if I wanted that, I've got other examples. Let me install the drives. Alright, there it is with the drives installed now. This is not ideal because these are not actually the correct screw, even though they kind of are, but they're for a different type of grommet that's taller than what these are, so they don't quite hold these securely. It was even worse with this one, but you know what, I don't really care. I'll see if I can go on eBay and find more of the correct type for this case, but I'm not in a hurry. They're screwed in place, this'll work. So I'm going to put the cover on it, power it up, probably have it not work after I put the cover on it. But we'll do that, and then I'll go ahead and I'll take this thing over to the other place, install the operating system, so that way I can have the network work out of the box, and we'll prepare to transfer things to the machine. Okay. Hopefully it posts. It does. We'll come into setup here. If it'll let me into setup here, we'll do a quick sanity check here on our devices. God, the mosquitoes are ridiculous out here today. They're all there. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to update the BIOS. So we'll let it do that. Well, that glitched out. Look at that. So that's a sign of a quality piece of software, but it's still going, so I'm going to choose to ignore it. Do not shut down the system! Why do they say that? It so sorely tempts me. Yeah, I'd rather not trash these boards. These are actually kind of nice. They're not nearly as unreliable as those ones were. Oh, that one works. That one's actually going to go into that case at some point. I'm going to use that and see if I can actually find them, because I don't know where they are now, but go and grab a newer RAID controller and build a new YouTube upload server out of that. So that's something that's coming down the pipe. It's been a long time coming. I've needed to replace that machine now for probably about 2 years, and I just haven't done it. BIOS update completely. Well, I don't really want to know what a partially updated BIOS would look like, but I fortunately won't have to know, because it updated completely. Gotta love English. Are we gonna post or what? Wow. Got rid of my logo. So, whatever. I don't really care. I'll have to go through all these settings, but yeah, here we go. It's up to date. 2201 is the most recent release for this. Okay, so first things first. I will apologize for the noise, because I know that this camera happens to pick up fan noise a lot better than a lot of the other cameras do, but on the other hand, I do want it to actually be cool in here in the middle of summer. That is kind of nice. And a lot of the noise that you hear is actually coming from the air conditioner. Second of all, the lighting's not great. I'm dealing with a breaker panel problem right now, so even if I wanted to turn this light on, as you can see, I can't. So we're stuck without it. At least until I fix it, and I'm not waiting for them to fix it before getting this done. So, where we left off, I had installed the hardware, I'd finished the hardware portion of this, now I gotta do the software portion. Hopefully it survived its trip over here. The one nice thing about not having that light is that there's no glare on this screen. Alright, UEFI OS, Sandisk Cruiser Edge. Did it work? That's not promising. Huh. That is not promising at all. Oh, there it goes. No such device. Well, I'm going to have to run this twice because I do need to get the MAC address off this machine. I'll run the graphical installer. I mean, I have the mouse hooked up, so. Like I said, I am going to have to do this twice because I'm going to have to put this with a static IP address on my network. Okay, this time it should get my static address. Yes. I chose the graphical installer again, just because, even though I normally use the terminal install, but I have the mouse, I might as well use it, and it's not like it doesn't like this monitor. Even though there's definitely some interference on this, I think it's coming from the KVM switch. I assure you I read that very carefully. I'll install to the target disk. I'll have to scroll all the way, oh my gosh, all the way down this list. The correct one, that's good. Alright, install. Hard drive LED is working, as you can see there. So we'll let that do its thing. Alright, pull that out. And hopefully it will just boot. Welcome to Grub. Proxmox VE. And again, I hope the video is going to work. I've had a lot of problems with video in Proxmox. But I think for the most part, the only time I've really had a problem is when I've tried to use an NVIDIA video card. And I thought about that on this. I thought about putting a video card in here and then maybe configuring pass-through and seeing how that worked. But at the heart of it all, I don't really see much of a point because I don't get a whole lot of use out of that functionality anyway, so. Alright, here we go. Here is the web console, which has now loaded successfully. Here you can see all of our information. Our 64 gigabytes of RAM. So I think we're doing okay on this. But I'll do the rest of the configuration using screen recorder software because I know how much people hate it when I point a camera at a screen, and I figure I can do that with less noise anyway. So I'll be right back thanks to the magic of video editing. Okay, I'm going to have to make this quick because I'm actually doing this while I should be getting ready for work. But I wanted to at least get some of this set up. So, I suppose we'll start. I've installed all the updates already, so I don't have to deal with that. And I guess we'll come through here. And I'm not going to worry about that for right now. Or this. I'll come back to that. I will need to do some changes to my backup server in order to accommodate all of this, but the metric server is where our interest lies. So I'm going to have to sign into this. There we go. So I will have to make a new API token for this. Oh, actually, I think before I do that, I need to make a bucket for this. This one I can delete because that server doesn't exist anymore. Give it the host name. data retention's forever. It's the same thing that I have set on all of them. By the way, if you have their audio problems, please excuse this microphone. This thing is kind of a piece of crap, but I couldn't find my regular USB microphone for this. So I've created that. Now we need to create an API token. So, I might as well just give it read and write to it all. We'll generate it, and that'll generate it. Okay, so we've created that. Now, I'm probably going to have to edit this because that's for my thing here, and I'm sure that that's not going to work. I'm going to have to redo that, but I'll do that later. We can come over here, and we can add this. Again, I'll call it the host name. I believe what I want to use is 8086. We're using HTTP. And here, we'll paste it, create, and hopefully there'll be no error messages. I'm sure there will be, but everything else there should be fine. Now, the other thing I'm going to do right now is I am going to come here into disks, and I'm going to wipe these two disks. Told it to wipe that. That's weird. I don't know why it did that. So hopefully that's not the first sign of a problem to come. We'll initialize the disk. And then I'm going to create a pair of directories. Again, standard stuff. Okay, so here we are. Here's a new system. I've got all this stuff configured. I've reconfigured my backup server. Well, actually, I should rephrase that. I've set up a new backup server because in typical fashion, there's a technical problem preventing me from using the existing one for the time being, so I'll have to fix that. My mouse is doing a very weird jig. You might have seen it just go flying off the screen there. That was kind of funny. But now we're at the point where I can restore virtual machines to this. Now, my methodology here, or at least my thought process, is that this particular box here is going to be for the stuff that is not internet facing, whereas this one, the existing one, is. So if we take a look, this is internet facing, but this is not. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to shut it down, which now it has done. I'm going to go into backup. Most recent one was done a couple days ago, and it's verified. So there probably haven't been any file changes to this machine since then. So what I can do is I can come up here to restore, find that machine, which I think is right here, and we can restore that. We'll pick the first drive. We're going to renumber it. And I'll start it after the restoration. And we'll restore it. And that might take a while. Okay, so it's now finished. Restore image completed. Execute auto start. It looks like it has auto started here. Open up the console. Yep. Find it here on my list of things. And yes, there it is, running just fine. So I'm going to do that with all of these virtual... Well, actually, what I'll do first is I'm going to edit this and turn that off. And then once all these transfers are done, I'm going to run backups on this, and then delete these, and also delete them from the backup. That's pretty much it for that. It's now running. Thank you for watching, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below.